There's a lot of times where I don't respond to text messages because I just don't have my phone on me from time. I just don't. And I mean, you guys think that I'm sitting there looking at it saying, "Oh, you guys, no." I just don't. I don't.
If you follow him on Instagram, you'll see he's got workout videos. He's always on there.
Why isn't Bobby replying to us? But he just posted a workout video.
Yeah. Let me
Fighting
ask you,
solves everything.
why do we not see this in other sports?
Why don't we see this in life in general?
Well, because it's not legal. That's why, like I said, I think it's fair. It's within the rules here.
No, but I'm saying, why do we not have these rules in other sports?
Look, in
Bobby
theory,
and I are on the same side right now.
Yeah.
no,
You got Switzerland over
There's
here.
a lot of people that
No,
don't
no,
fight.
You got Switzerland
guys,
over here.
in theory, it makes sense. In theory, but it's not. Like, they're not going to be fighting at a basketball game.
They can't fight anyways. Have you not seen that?
I've been spending time in the dojo, doing all the things that they won't show. No spotlights on me, no photos, becoming the king on the low low.
So, I guess, look, I won't look at you, but I'll ask Rich.
Here it goes.
Here we go, baby.
Do you watch hockey?
I do.
Did you see the
I sure
Four
did.
Nations, Canada versus
I
US?
sure did.
I'm not going to ask you about hockey, so
Racist.
Sure
There's all
did.
kinds of black hockey players.
name them.
Yeah.
No, there's at least two. Well, the one,
See?
Subban, he retired, I
he's
believe.
a analyst now.
Yeah, he's an analyst now, yeah.
So, there are at least two.
Yeah.
No Asians,
No.
Bobby. At least you're
I think
represented,
there is
bro.
one Asian. I think there's
Well,
one.
no, there is. He's part.
Yeah, he's part.
He plays for Dallas.
Yes, he does.
He's like half Filipino or half,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Something like but I do know that he plays for. I believe.
Hey, Bobby, part of the people, bro.
Yeah. So what about this hockey thing that we're talking about?
there was. So okay. So this is. Let me give you like a little backstory on this. Basically, it started like Trump put tariffs on Canada, and Canada kind of put reciprocal tariffs on us. And then they had this tournament called the Four Nations, where Four Nations play against each other in hockey. So it's like Finland, Canada, Sweden, and the U.S. The Four Nations play against each other. Anyways, they were in Ontario, Canada. Was it Ontario or Toronto? Ontario. I think it was in Ontario, Canada. They were playing on Saturday night, I believe. Saturday night. And yeah, it was Saturday night because I was watching the fights. And the crowd started booing during our national anthem. Now, you know that I'm just being honest. Hey, like when you're at the Olympics, like you don't boo another country's national anthem. Like, yeah, it's respect. Like,
No matter what.
yeah. Who was the sprinter? The best sprinter ever.
Bolt.
Usain Bolt.
But yeah, Usain Bolt. He literally in the middle of an interview, I believe it was the American national anthem was playing. He stopped the interview and turned and paid respect to the national anthem that was being played at that time. Now he would have done that had it been another national anthem.
Should be.
You know, he just like, look, when somebody else's national anthem is playing, you stop. You don't keep doing what you're doing. You respect that country. And I respected the shit out of what he did. That was amazing.
Yeah.
This is the scenarios. They started booing our national anthem when it was being played. And so the puck drops. Two players decide to throw their gloves off and just start fighting right there on the spot. Boom. Fight gets done, right? So the refs can't jump in. Once they throw their gloves off, refs have to step back. So they fight. Once the fight hits the ground, then the refs can jump in. So once the fight hits the ground, if one person goes down, they have to stop. Like, so as soon as that happens, they go back to the game and they drop the puck again. Two more guys. Boom. We're not even 2 seconds into the game. Both guys drop gloves. Boom. They decide to throw down again. Okay, fight's over. They drop the puck. Puck gets played real fast down to the goal. They run down. Two guys bump into each other. Boom, drop the gloves, fight again. 9 seconds into the game, you've already had 3 fights. Just awesome. Two of the players are brothers. They're called, their names are the Kachuk brothers. Their last name is Kachuk. Both of them threw down right off the bat. Their dad was asked, like, what do you think about your two boys? And he's like, man, those kids, they're crazy. He's talking about his own two boys. But there's a video and a past video of him. His dad got into a fight with, is it Mario Lemieux? Like there's a video of him and Mario Lemieux squaring up. It's like, obviously they know where they got it from, their dad. So it was pretty funny, but I thought it was pretty amazing. Within 9 seconds, obviously the Americans won 3-1. I say obviously, but I don't think we've beaten Canada, and I think we've beaten them like once in the last probably 60 ever.
Yeah.
I think probably ever.
It's their sport.
It's their
right?
sport.
They're,
100%.
they're
it's their
great.
sport.
But sometimes it's okay to fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This was appropriate. I mean, it's within the rules, first of all,
Yes.
of the game. So they weren't breaking any rules or laws. I think it was appropriate. The amount of disrespect that was coming their way, our way, I guess, as a country. And the boys decided that before they played the game, they had to take care of some business, right?
Yeah. It was funny. The Kachuk, one of the Kachuk brothers said, he's like, yeah, we have like a group text, like how we have our Dad Dojo group text. He's like, yeah, we were just, hey. And he's like, and then when we showed up, we saw the other players were like, and they said, yeah. So they just,
yeah. I love it.
I think it's amazing. Now, let me
Fighting
ask you,
solves everything.
but I guess this goes into, I know I don't want to get too much into sports because we've had a lot of people comment and going saying, hey man, like, can you guys talk about something else besides the kids and their sports and this and that? I was, all right, well, look, we'll talk about this sport action though, but this is about just being, I guess, just handling things as a man, right? Like you have a mutual respect for each other. We thought the Americans thought it was disrespectful. You were booing our national anthem. And both fighters agreed to throw down, throw their gloves off, and get after it. I mean, are you guys opposed to this? Why do we not see this in other sports?
Why don't we see this in life in general?
Well, because it's not legal. That's why, like I said, I think it's fair. It's within the rules here.
Justin, why can't we
No, but I'm
just
saying,
fight?
why do we not have these rules in other sports? Why can't they do it?
That they can just fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
then a lot of people wouldn't play sports.
I think
Well, you're
that'll
weeding out the
change.
weak then.
Hey, I'm on your side.
Yeah,
bro.
I don't.
I know you're on my side. I know.
Look, in
Bobby
theory,
and I are on the same side right now.
Yeah.
no,
You got
because
Switzerland over
There's
here.
a lot of people that
No,
are going to
no,
fight.
You got Switzerland
guys,
over here.
in theory, it makes sense. In theory, but it's not. Like they're not going to be fighting at a basketball game.
They can't fight anyways. Have you not seen them? Do you
I know
remember
that's
the
what
Ron
I mean.
Artest-
Soccer,
The
Yeah.
Ron
Kidding me?
Artest situation?
Hey, your favorite sport? They're the softest guys.
Oh,
out there in
basketball's
so-
for sure
no,
way
so-
softer. Have
Soccer.
you not seen the All-Star games for basketball? How pathetic
I
they are?
don't know.
Did you see
There's some basketball players that are pretty tough.
Did you see LeBron? Did you see him? Like
Hey,
he's
there's
just
some
not-
dudes
Why
that
do
are
we
pretty
hate
tough.
LeBron?
But there's some basketball players that are pretty tough. They don't flop as much as soccer players, though.
Oh no, they do. It's way worse. No, if you actually take, no.
But look, fighting is allowed in hockey, right? It's part of the game.
Yes.
Let me ask you: why is it allowed? Is it because they're on skates? It's hard to generate a lot of power. Is it? I mean, I know that guys have been like,
I don't know.
knocked out
That's a good
cold.
question. You'd have to ask like a hockey purist. But I mean, obviously, we know it's allowed because they don't get ejected from the game. They just get placed
Yeah,
in
they
the
get their
penalty
2-minute or
box.
4-minute long penalty
Right.
box.
So
yeah.
you get a little slap on the wrist and go get your timeout. But in any other sport, you're ejected, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're gone right away.
Right.
Yeah. You're
So
gone.
that's why I say I think it was appropriate because it's within the rules and it was an appropriate response. But we can't just have everyone fighting in every sport.
Well,
I mean, I don't know, man. I just
And we come from a fighting
Yeah, we
culture
come
and
from a fighting
background.
And y'all two are professional fighters
Yeah.
also. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
yeah, and I think fighters have a lot more respect for each other because
Oh,
we do
100%.
oh,
that.
absolutely.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if we're at a nightclub or something and we don't like each other, we just kind of like, hey, maybe we should stay away from each other, knowing if we're going to ruin our night. Now there's times where like, hey, we're just going to get into it and get it over with,
yeah.
you know, and go our separate ways. But it's very unlikely that you're going to have two fighters really get into it at like a nightclub or out and about. It's not going to happen because they both know they know how to fight. And I think that's somewhat of the problem in our society these days is that too many people, and Tyson said it best, people get too caught up on social media saying shit they wouldn't say to someone's face.
Yep.
And there needs to be consequences for that.
But there's not. There's too many people
But
that
there
are
should
way,
be,
way
Bobby.
too protect. Sure, but the only other way that would be is just to allow fighting, and it would be a very tribal, animalistic society that we would have if the person that can fight the best is the person that's going to be on top. I mean,
Sure.
because that's how it would be. Shit, I go to work all the time, and I'm sitting there listening to these guys. I'm like, do you know I would just like smash your head? And you sit there telling me, and you're upset that you lost to me, bro? Come on. Like in the real world, I would murder you, and that would be a warm up. But so it's hard. I understand where both of you guys are coming from because I wish a lot of times that I could just smash somebody in their mouth. But I'm a very calm person. I'm a nice guy. So I never bring that out because I know that there are repercussions for it. So I can see both sides. I mean, I wish there could be more of that, but in actuality, we just can't. We can't have basketball players say, all right, it's enough. It's squaring up. We just can't do it. We can't do it in almost any sport. Football, you push a guy and it's like they're throwing flags and everything like that. But
you punch someone and they're wearing a helmet,
it's the most
you get kicked out of the game and the guy had a helmet on.
It's the most aggressive sport out there. And the one part of aggression you can't do. I guess there needs to be a little law and order.
So I guess this goes back into for where I'm looking at. Have we dumbed down the sports to where now they're all soft? I mean, you look at the Michael Jordan era of, man, they were foul. Like the technical foul was a real technical foul back then. Now, like if you jump and your elbow hits him in the face, it's a technical.
Everything's softer though,
but
not just sports. Everything though. The rules have. To speak on sports, they've made sports softer to make it more exciting. Look at basketball. They do is shoot threes. You can't foul no one anymore. Look at football. You can't touch the quarterback. You can't touch a wide receiver. No. So we've softened it to make it more entertaining, to make it more appealing for the casual audience.
There's a couple things that I'm comfortable with. I think like not hitting a defenseless, receiver coming across the middle. I mean, I'm fine with that. Like those are
sure.
But the amount of penalties you get, first downs you get for touching the receiver or the DB, it's really kind of turned me off to the football. Basketball to me is probably the worst sport.
Basketball's pretty bad these days.
Well, it's not just that, but it's like, think about, I mean, like if I'm a Dallas Mavs fan, I'm pissed off. I want my money back for my season tickets. Like you got rid of the best player on the team, and I'd be pretty upset about that. Now, obviously, you can't do that, but in return, we got AD, but AD I think is now possibly out for the season.
Yeah,
which has been known to happen with him quite a bit. Big guys, they tend to have that problem. Like there's a bunch of little injuries that come with having that big of a body.
That's one business transaction. That's one business move. But you're right about the overall sport declining, and we're seeing the ratings, we're seeing the fan satisfaction. All of that's not heading in the right direction. So the sport is... Yeah,
their viewership, I think, is down 48%. I believe is what I saw just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's down 48%.
Okay. I'll be the devil's advocate because I'm usually that guy anyway. You almost have to have it in anything, because if you look at sports right now, sports are more skilled than just aggression. We came from you can get aggressive, and then as we started doing that, then people really started like very picking apart sports. Even when you go to amateur wrestling, a lot you're watching tape more than anything on these different people, because it's not just let's go kick his ass. It's like, all right, let's figure, okay, he takes a step this way, so when he does that, so it's more of a chess match with every sport now. It's more of a chess match, and you can even put it into fighting, because look what they did in fighting. They started putting rules in fighting. Why can't we kick a guy in the head when he's down on the ground? That knocks down fights and quick. If and then we start taking out that and the elbow, the 6 to 12, and then all these different rules that we put into fighting. We do that for kind of the safety. And then you look at the casual fan that's up there screaming like, girl, kill him, kill him, kill him. But you get two high-level fighters. What does it turn into? It turns into a chess match. So you watch it and you're like, man, this is amazing how he's, passing his guard and how he's moving and everything like that, and how he's moving in his stance and everything like that, because you understand it more. But the casual fan's like, just knock him out. So it's like it's hard to cater to that general fanship by saying we got to change the sport, because we need the sport, because we need the fine tuning, and it's more of a chess match. Any sport now is more of a chess match. Well, from football to soccer to baseball to basketball, everything.
I don't think any of us are saying, I'm not saying that. I'm not opposed to the chess match style of play. What I'm opposed to is that we stopped throwing the ball down low, because you get a foul for every single thing you do. And it's no different than like we started throwing the ball more in football, because they know that there's a good chance you're going to get a penalty and get a first down. So like it's been talked about on broadcast with the NFL. Like, yeah, if we're at 3rd and like 24, we might as well just huck it down the field and see what happens. And if we get a first down, now we've covered that distance. That's what the sport has come to. I also believe that I enjoy the new NBA. I enjoy the threes. I enjoy the Currys. I enjoy what there's something to be said about being able to shoot from anywhere on the court pretty much and making it. I'm sorry, but that's beautiful to me.
But that's one of the problems. That's one of the things that is to a lot of people ruin the game is just everyone's just chucking threes and there's not more of a complete game. And that's because of analytics. And the Warriors have a lot to do with that, but that revolves around analytics, where teams basically started bringing in people saying, you're better off shooting more threes than you are going for twos. Because obviously a three is worth more than, right? A 3-pointer is worth more than a 2-pointer. So if we make more threes, we're going to score more points.
Yeah.
So we're better off playing, this type of ball. And then everyone started to adopt that style after the Warriors to keep up with who the best guys were. So that's actually a topic of discussion at the moment. And people are asking, I think Steph made a comment about it the other day. I haven't read exactly what he said, but they asked him about it. Like, what are your thoughts on like the 3-pointer and your style ruining the game? But that's what led to basketball. So it wasn't necessarily, they started getting softer on the fouls, but it's the game naturally changed. This is like their decision to play this way.
I think, the game will naturally change, but I think also too is that anytime you throw the ball down low, there's a foul, there's a whistle, the game lasts longer. That also kills the ratings as well.
But they're not telling those guys to not, like I said, people adapted to a style. There's a difference. People adapted to a style that was dominant, and everyone's just trying to play that way now. It's not fun to watch. I mean, it's clear. Like I said, the fans have spoken. People are actively saying this isn't what we want to see.
I think a lot of why the fans have turned away from it is, I think, also the 3-pointers, but I also think the fouls, it's constant. Anytime you take the ball down low, there's always fouls. On top of that, like they get frustrated when you're like, hey, you're making $35 million a year. You decided to sit out because you're tired.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it.
Yeah. I mean, like think about
load management, they call it.
Load management. But then LeBron was selected for the All-Star game. Obviously deserves to be selected for the All-Star game. But the bottom line is he didn't tell anyone or say anything until the day of that he wasn't going to play. So they could have given that spot to someone who was going to play. And it's not like it makes a difference. The All-Star game now is just, it's a joke. It's like you come in and they stop the game every 10 minutes to have a concert between. That's really what it was. This last
they changed the format. Like I actually follow basketball and it was my first love as far as sports. Like, as a kid, and I still watch it and follow it. Like you guys probably couldn't tell me who the top 2 teams are in the league right now, could you?
No.
Yeah. OKC and Cleveland. So I still follow
Cleveland.
it. Yeah.
I figured OKC because they've got some young kids, right? They're crushing it right now.
I still follow it, man. I watched the whole All-Star game. It was terrible.
But I like
it
was terrible. Like I didn't just watch highlights. I watched the whole thing.
Just terrible.
I watched Saturday night, the skills challenge and the dunk contest. Yeah. And I watched the All-Star game, the whole thing.
What was the big controversy on the skills contest? There was something that
they DQ'd Chris Paul and Wemby.
Wemby.
Yeah, they said that they were, not playing within the.
Is it something where because they were just like tossing the ball and they were not shooting it, so they just had to get rid of the balls in a certain amount of time?
They were bending the rules. It was one of those things.
They found a loophole.
Yeah. They're like, no, we can't have that.
You can't outsmart us.
No. And I hate to, because this is very typical of us, because we could say the same thing about music, movies, society, right? This is a sign of that we're getting old. Because we're like, it was better
back in my day.
That's how you know you're getting old when you start saying that shit, which we are. But there is some truth to it. Like there's a lot of things that aren't as good as the quality when we were coming up.
That's what we believe. I was fighting with my kids. I did the road trip this weekend with my kids. So
where'd you guys go?
We just went down south. It was only a 5-hour trip, but it was really cool just getting in the car with them and just brought the dog too and just went down there, had a good time. And we were talking a lot. And this is what we were talking about because we started listening to music and we had like R&B pop up and I was like, you guys R&B is trash here.
There is no R&B these days.
They were fighting. They were SZA and then there was this other guy. Listen, man.
He's like,
I'm
on your side, Rich.
I know you're trying to fight me.
You're like, Rich.
And anyone in our generation, boys, they're throwing Bobby Brown, Jodeci, Boyz II Men, Whitney Houston, like all
John
these people.
B.
I was like, come on, man, you guys aren't even close to us. But of course, they argue with it. And times have changed across the board for everything that we do, even in my profession, even professional wrestling. Like it's like I came back and then I was just like I walked in when I first got into professional, when I went from OVW, the NXT, to the main card. When I walked in there, if you didn't go and shake everybody's hand, especially the guys that are on the show, man, you would be castrated. You would be gone in a second. It was just a sign of respect. You know, we're picking each other up over our heads. You know, we're protecting each other. So it was always a deal to shake everybody's hand or even acknowledge people. When I came back in 2018, after being gone for 10 years, you know, no one did it. No one even. Everybody was just on their own. And I was just like, does anybody know each other? You know, and then there was a time when NXT came up and the NXT kids were sitting at a table and I was just sitting there and I was just like, all right, this is a little weird. They all sat there. No one said anything to anyone. And then they got up, they were doing their own stuff. And I went over to the table. I was in the business at that time for 15 years, you know, WrestleMania, everything. And I went over there and shook all their hands. And it was like, nobody, you don't even stand up. You just, oh, what's going on? Like this. And I was like, whoa. So everything has kind of changed across the board, even how wrestling is now. Like some of the kids that are in there, it's just like, you look at it and you're like.
What's better today than when we were younger?
ChatGPT.
That's technology.
Technology.
For sure.
Technology.
Yeah. Technology.
It could be everything in what the kids talk about now. It's pretty much everything. It's about entertainment. Entertainment's better.
But do you think that the music now is better than when we were coming up?
No.
They will say it.
No, but what
I
do you
think it's trash, but
here's
I
the thing.
went with my generation.
You cannot say it like for them. The explanation to them is you can't say it like they're still thumping Biggie and Tupac in clubs. Like in a couple of years, they won't be thumping any of this shit in clubs.
I said that also.
If you can't live in a club, that's what builds this up for the longest period of time. That's what keeps them relevant.
Okay,
they still playing Billie Jean, dog.
I'm on your side with that also. They said you don't know because we're still in their time and they play theirs all the time.
Yeah, you're right. But when you can't understand the words though, the mumble rap thing is just not. When you can't understand it, then how do you get down with it? It's the beat.
I am.
But that's no different than techno music.
But is that us? I've thought about this too because it's like, is that us?
Yes.
Or because our parents don't understand any of like
our music.
Oh no! My parents were cool with Tupac and Biggie.
Your parents, but generally they would look at like, what is rap? What is this hip hop?
Yeah,
like, they would just
they did.
But they came around though to some like at least my parents kind of came around to some of the music. You know that
we're still in the generation of these kids.
You know what's funny is I just saw this thing this morning, and I was sitting on the toilet just scrolling with my thumb, and I saw the video, and the video basically said that there was a girl who had interviewed college kids, University of Wisconsin, and I think University of Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania. Anyways, and she was saying that she was asking kids about ChatGPT and AI stuff, and she's like, certain kids, she's asked like, hey, like, what are things that you enjoy about it? What are things you don't? And they go, well, I enjoy the fact that I get better grades because I use it. They're like, but I also look at other kids that don't use it, and I feel like they're getting smarter than I am. And I was like, that's interesting. She goes, yeah, because they can actually formulate the sentences where ChatGPT and other AI formats are actually writing it out for me. So I'm getting better grades, but I'm actually getting dumber.
Well, yeah, I think it's more about efficiency versus like I'm being told the answer versus I'm having to go look for the answer and come up with it, right? Which is what we had to do.
Yeah.
Like there was no, just Google it, right? Now that's hey, if you don't know the answer to something, if you have a question, just Google it. That wasn't always the case when we were growing up. You had to go look that up. And how did you look it up? A book, an encyclopedia. You had to go to the library. Yeah. Remember, you had to look a book up with the Dewey Decimal System.
Do you remember you had dudes that came by your house and knocked on the door and said, "We need to sell encyclopedias"?
Yeah, they weren't cheap either.
No, they weren't.
Okay. With that being said, if me and you had a question and then I went and looked at it. It took me a day to find it, and then you found your book. You pull it open, a couple minutes, boom, you found it. Am I getting smarter because of you in the situation? Am I getting smarter than you?
Who? Which one are you? The one that
I'm the one that took me. Like we both had the encyclopedias.
You're getting smarter because you want to know why? You put the work in and you remember. That's a moment you're going to remember having to put in the work to look it up. The person who looks it up on, like my kids,
He looked it up.
My kids go, hey, Surrey, how many purple cars are in Prosper? That's what we did yesterday.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to find a purple car yesterday because we were doing this road trip thing. It's like, yeah, well, how many purple cars are in Prosper? They're asking Surrey. Ask Surrey. They didn't have to look it up.
Ask him today.
But
Ask him today that answer. And see,
ask the kids?
Because if they found out yesterday, they said 750 kids or purple cars are in Prosper. Now ask him today to see if he retained that knowledge, because that's ultimately what it is just retaining the knowledge,
but
right?
I think it's in your journey and your path towards getting the answer, you're going to discover and find other things along the way. I think that's the big difference between I'm telling you what it is versus, oh, you know what? I also learned while I was looking for that answer, I had to dig through all this other stuff, and I found some really interesting other things along the way. Versus, you're telling me. I guess it's almost like, and maybe this isn't the perfect analogy, but you know that whole give a man a fish versus teach a man
how to fish.
Right, you feed him for a lifetime.
Yep.
It's just learning, like what we always say, learning how to learn. And learning how to find the answers on your own, as opposed to just if you told somebody what the answers were all the time, right? Versus that person went and looked for them.
Well, it's no different than when we were a kid, right? When you do the testing at school. If you're looking at somebody else's paper, what they're writing down, you're not learning. You're not learning.
Yes, you are.
You are not.
You learn how to be slick. And you learn how to get A's.
You're not learning, Bobby.
No, I understand what you're saying, because all you're doing is circling.
You have your girlfriend take your test, right? You just go ahead, stroll in there, and just take my test for me, come back out.
I was really good at sports.
Yeah.
No, here, I think it's, we're all talking about how the generations are different all the way across the board, because like look at it, even in sports and stuff like that, you have guys that are cheating to get up there. We always look at, if you do it the hard way, it matters more. Like I would always say this: the Gatorade tastes better on the top of the podium because of what I went through. That's mine. I always look at everything that I went through. Nobody, when you're a champion, you know the fight is one thing, but the only thing that we remember is those aerodyne workouts, those sprints and different things like that. And that's what made us who we are. So we look at that way. This generation, they don't always have to see that, because so many people across the board are cutting corners. We have like fighters that really never went through 20 years of boxing, that went into the Olympics and then came out from amateurs to the pros.
But they're still good.
They're
Steph Curry's. They've really made the sport like a fine art, and it worked for them.
But how long did Steph Curry go through it?
You know, just to speak on that and how it ties into that dojo, you know, he grew up, his dad was a pro player.
Yeah.
He grew up in the league. Patrick Mahomes, his dad wasn't a pro football player.
Nope.
But he's a pro baseball player. He grew up with A-Rod and growing up around greatness and high levels. So to use those two as an example of the two of the faces and arguably the best currently. Yeah, you look at what they came up around. They saw their dads putting in that work. They were on the court, on the field for warm-ups and everything. So I think that's a huge part of
that's a little bit of like some of my regret is I had kids later on in life, like is they didn't get to see. But then again,
would you have been a champion if you had to worry about kids?
No,
I think you would have.
I don't think so.
I think you would have.
You want to know why? Because I also knew that my relationship with my kids, I wanted it to be, even though my dad and I had a really strong relationship, I wanted it to be more. I wanted it to be every second, every moment, everything. I you know, it's our pleasure to go to practice and watch them play and sit there for an hour and a half. Like last night, it was freaking freezing, and I'm out there in my Patagonia, my gator and my beanie, and I'm just standing there walking back and forth trying to keep my blood moving, just so I could watch them play. And it's just practice. Not even a game.
I should agree with you more, especially in that point, because for me, when I fought, it was like I was literally taking fights off of not even training. because of my kids. Because when I went up to see you guys over at San Jose, when I was talking to Dwayne was like, let's get you move up here, train with these guys full time and everything like that. I was like, I can't do it. And we've had talks about it. You know, when you and Scott came down, we had to talk about running for it, and they wanted me to go down to Florida and spend on. I just didn't. I was training and sparring. You know, Yusuf now. Yeah, Yusuf was one of the guys at my gym when he was 16 years old, and I was training with him, 135 pounder. Me and Alex Huddleston is our jiu-jitsu coach, but he was a heavyweight also. So those are the guys, like, I would just train at home with high school kids and stuff like that, and then just go take a fight. Or I would just go somewhere and spar for a week. Sometimes I'd have a week and a half because it was my kid. So I understand where you're coming from. Like, I was not trying to be the champion. I was like, I just don't have the time to do it. I don't have the time, energy to put into it. Because
you made the decision to focus on the family. You weren't going to.
Yeah, I wanted to fight, but I was like, you can't. I'm not going to be in the biggest fights where I have to go through a serious training camp to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not leaving my kids. And I don't have what it takes in Colorado to be able to train.
What was difficult is once my son was born, it was like, you had a desire to go to practice, but you just were eager to get back home. I used to sit after practice and stretch, kind of go over a couple techniques with whoever was still around, just kind of goof around a little bit, spend the next 30, 40 minutes just, letting your body cool down and just working into a flow with somebody and kind of still breaking the sweat, but not really, but letting your body kind of relax. That didn't happen once my son was born. I was like, I gotta go. I'm going to get some food. I'm just going to lay down, and my son's going to lay next to me, and we're just going to, it's a year, 2 years old. It's like, no, I'm just going to just chill and relax.
I think there are a lot of people that go through that very similar situation and internal struggle, not necessarily being, in the field of athletics or trying to be a world champion, but in like work, or because if you ask somebody, hey, it'd be better for my career if I lived here, but I stay here because of the family. We have family nearby, or my kids really like this school or this area. So I think as we talk about more broadly, like dads in general, not just elite athlete dads like you guys, I think there's other dads out there that are thinking, man, in my career, whether it's tech, finance, whatever it is, I'd probably make more money and be better off if I lived in this area. But you know what? I'm going to do the best I can here because it's best for my family. So I do think it says a lot for those dads out there, and moms, or just people in general that are making sacrifices for their family. Like, this is what's best for the family.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about this to put into perspective. Like, I spent several Thanksgivings and I spent several Christmases doing the Aerodyne bike with either John Fitch or Mike Swick or Trevor Prengley, Phil Baroni. Like, we would be there on Thanksgiving night instead of spending time with the family. We'd be there at Thanksgiving night doing the assault bike, and getting some rounds in of grappling, doing an hour long of assault bike, like getting my cardio in that day. Like, we had a little bit of turkey during the day. You couldn't eat too much, and you'd go work out. Again. Yeah, you go train again at night. So my Christmas mornings were spent that way. If I had kids, there's no way I would have went to the gym. No way.
I think it's, we always say that the grass is greener. We talk about that all the time. We always say, I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have done that. I think it's all that case of just, you got to enjoy where you're at. Because if we had to ask that question to everybody, is it better to have kids later? Because you said, I wish I had my son earlier because I can do more with them. But then again, I need to have him later so I can get that out of the way. So there's, both of you would have had to work with whatever situation, but
being a professional athlete, it's a very selfish sport. It's a very selfish endeavor that you need to push your body through. Being successful in your business, like if it was a tech business or if I was working in whatever business it was, if you're trying to start your own business, there's being selfish in there too, but you can actually turn the clock off when everyone else goes home. You're not really answering emails. No. Like, so if you work for Google, you're saying that they're going to.
No, but if you're an entrepreneur, I know a lot of.
Entrepreneur is the same as being an athlete. That's not what I'm talking. I'm not talking about entrepreneurs. I'm talking about people that work at Google.
But I think you have to be successful, not just in sports. In life, you have to be selfish.
Yes, because that's what we just talked about with fighting.
The smartest guys, wealthiest guys in the world. Forget athletics. Those guys all have messed up family lives.
Yeah.
It comes with the price. If you want to be the best and successful, again, you could look up and down, tech guys, businessmen.
Doesn't matter what you
They're
are.
all messed up at home, bro.
We
all know, I bet collectively, we're not going to name names, but some of the most successful people we know have terrible family lives.
I was talking to that one guy when I was in that group a while back, and he was an optometrist, and he said that he would even give his clients his number. So at 7:00 at night, they call, okay, meet me at the emergency room or meet me at my office or something like that. So he was spending too much time away. And he said that until something happened to him, a trauma happened to him where he was like, man, I might not be valuable to them anymore, his family. He said, that's when I knew that I had things out of whack in perspective. So in order to be successful, no matter what it is, you have to spend the time. And if you don't, then you're just saying, okay, I'm just going to be okay.
I guess where I was headed was there's a difference between the person who works the 9 to 5 and the person who could turn their phone off at 5 o'clock. I mean, we live in an era now where like, no, you can't. Not everyone can. And not that everyone can. That bosses now are asking more of you because of the work from home situation. If you're going to work from home, that means that you have freedom. And when you have time, you can go do whatever it is you want to do as long as you get your work done. So that work from home has opened up the Pandora's box for them to be available pretty much 24 hours a day. That's one way of putting it, I guess, for there. But what I'm saying is the people that work the 9 to 5 at a bank job, right? Those ones are not having to open up their email at 8 o'clock at night when your kid's at practice. It's very rare. Or like, I'll just do it, when I have time, I'll get to it, or I'll do it first thing in the morning when we're getting ready to open. Like, that's what I'm talking about in terms of with athletes and with entrepreneurs. There is no turning it off. There is no, hey, if my kid is playing, like my cousin, he owns like a bus company, a tour bus company. The last couple of times we spent time together with all the kids in the family, it's hard to get a moment with him. Like we could be all together at dinner, and it's like he's got to get up and walk outside and talk on the phone. Comes back in, sits down, has a couple bites. Phone rings. I got to take this. Got to walk back outside. It's almost unpleasant to go and hang out.
Yeah. Look, I wouldn't underestimate the challenges and the struggle of like people that aren't in maybe executive level positions. Like I know people that are in our family that are mechanics and just teachers. It's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard. They don't, they're grading papers all night. They're doing all these different things. I just think everyone works more now, period. This isn't an era where I was talking to somebody about this. He's a little older than us, and he's been a mentor to me for quite some time. But when he was growing up, his dad worked at Sears. His dad worked at Sears for 30 something years. Just dad worked, and they were still able to live a very middle class life. Go on 2 vacations a year, and dad worked 9 to 5, strictly 9 to 5, 5 days a week. And now there's no such thing. Like you're working all the time. Everybody got to work. And it just became a lot harder. So I think everyone's working more today than we used to. Because back in the day, I just felt like growing up, right? Didn't you feel like my parents always worked, but I just felt like there was, like you said, there was more of this ability to slow things down or even stop it for a moment. But these days, I feel like it's just not possible, no matter, even if you're just the employee. And I think that's why certain countries make it illegal to email and call at certain hours. Yeah, certain countries will say, unless you're like a high-level executive that needs to respond to emergencies, you cannot email or call on weekends or on time off.
But the thing that's changed though is email wasn't around pretty much in our parents' day.
Sure.
So there was that. The ability to be in touch with somebody 24 hours a day wasn't available.
Right. We didn't have cell phones.
Yeah, we'd have cell phones.
You weren't going to call someone's house, so I guess you could, but that's what I mean. It never stops now, no matter what you're doing. So I wouldn't underestimate, just because you're not an entrepreneur doesn't mean, like I know people that work at a bank and they work 6 days a week.
Did we open ourselves to that in terms of on purpose? Like some of us thrive off of that. Like, let's be honest. I mean, when I had my gyms in California, and then was training and fighting, I was addicted to the hustle. I was addicted to the chase. And then my conversation with my wife to move here was, I want to slow it all down. I don't want to be doing the chase. I don't want to be at the gym checking in on numbers. I don't want to do all this stuff. I just want to let the gym do its thing, and I want to enjoy going to practices. Even when I was living there, I would take Kellen and I'd just be constantly like, hey, we need a new trainer for this. We need a new trainer for that. Like, hey, so-and-so is getting me let go. Like, it's like, I don't want to deal with all this shit. Like, especially when you have someone that can do it, that you're paying to do it. So it was like, this was a good opportunity for us to move to Texas and just kind of detach from all of that. I don't know if you got, obviously not you decided to get 4 more jobs when you moved.
Well, I mean, just, but for me, it's a little different. I would say you're not wrong, but it's just this mentality of, the next 5, 8, 10 years, I have a goal, and in order to achieve that, or this is what I still, when I'm home though. I'm still at every practice. I'm still at, it's trying to find that balance. But I think for me personally, this is a window that I see that I have to just go for it, with the Alta stuff, with all these other side, consulting gigs and different opportunities that pop up. And I'm just trying to do it all. I mean, Bobby, I've never heard you. I mean, we can't even keep up with all the things you're doing. And I know you'll never say no to a good opportunity, right? So I think maybe you have a similar mindset.
Never leave money on the table.
Right now, I think there's a time where work is this much and pay is this much, and then it switches. Pay is this much, work is. I really don't work that much. I have an assistant, my business manager that works with me. She keeps everything in line. And before, one thing I was always wanting to do is, it's my money, and that what that do, it made me work harder. And then at that point, I was just like, you know what? You can always make more money. So take care of the people that are around you, and then bring the help in that you need. And then your peace is more important than anything. There's a lot of times where I don't respond to text messages because I just don't have my phone on me from time. I just don't. And I mean, you guys think that I'm sitting there looking at it saying, "Oh, you guys, no." I just don't. I don't.
But if you follow him on Instagram, you'll see he's got workout videos. He's always on there.
Why isn't Bobby replying to us? But he just posted a workout video.
Yeah.
No,
doing back today.
That's not true. That's not true. But all the businesses that I have, what I always wanted to do, I say, and I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday. I said, look, my peace is more important than anything. If something feels like a job, then I'm out of it. Even in professional wrestling right now, I love it over there because it's very chilled. It's very calm. If it ever gets to the point where it feels like I'm working against the current, then that's that conversation that I'll have with Tony. I'll just tell him, hey, this is not where I want to be in my life right now. With anything across the board, all the stuff that I'm investing in, I invest in the things that I don't have to touch. And I tell them too, it's like if they want me to start doing some work with it, where it's like a lot of work where I don't enjoy doing it, I'm just not doing it. And that's just kind of how I am right now. And I've been trying to figure out and make a lot of big decisions in my life lately. We've been talking about moving. We just looked at a couple of houses right here, down the street. Yeah.
Nice.
And everything. And the cool thing is like my kids feed off of that. My kids are like, all right, Dad, cool. Let's make it happen.
We got a good school program around here.
I know.
Bobby wants a bigger house. The current house
it's a little slow. It's a little slower pace up here, but it's nice, man.
It was a lot more. It was like an acre and a half of land. And I was like, man, I can like spit to my neighbor's house.
Yeah.
And it's like anything that I do, they're like, oh, well, you just put up a shed in the back. Can you take that thing down? I'm like, no. No. Yeah. You can see this much of it over the fence. And you're sitting there talking about this. Go home and leave me alone. And just to have a little bit of space. But I think what we're like, all in all, I think every time we always think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. And I think we got to understand, like I debate with my kids all the time and I try to understand them, and then they debate with me on what they think is better than what we have. And I'll never believe them. I'll never be on their side. And then as far as work, what's better, to be able to bust our ass early and then coast now, but have kids a little bit later, or to have kids and have your kids go through the same struggle that you're going through. Either one could be a good way, because when I was talking to a friend of mine, he said, you know what? He liked the fact of his kids able to see what he's going through and to kind of go through it with him. and they understand when dad's gone, he'll be back at this time. They understand his work. So when he comes home from work and he's a little bit stressed out, they know exactly where he's coming from. They know the players that he's dealing with. They know what he's going with, whether it's school or whether it's whether it's work, or whether it's a sport. He knows what's going on because he keeps his family involved with everything that he's doing. So I think either way could be good. I wish I would have had my son earlier when I could have wrestled with him and been more involved with that, or even later where I can just completely retire away from pro wrestling and just be the coach. Either way.
Yeah, me trying to shoot a single leg and a double right now is not in the business, buddy. I know it ain't for you either. Some icy hot, some double knee pads, volleyball knee pad to go down. Make sure I don't gotta get down that low. Man, I'm gonna throw my back out doing this, but
and then recover for an hour afterwards.
Yeah, I guess overall, look, we enjoy fighting in hockey. I'm glad there's one sport that still shows that there's men in it. And
wow,
I love it. I thought it was very entertaining for the first 9 seconds. The game was phenomenal. They actually run it back on Thursday night in the finals. So make sure you guys tune in. It should be a good one.
It was appropriate, and I think that's what I would tell my kids every now and then.
You got to fight.
Yeah, you got to fight when it's appropriate. Yeah, you must, and it was appropriate. So
I reposted the fights, and I said it's nice to see men being men again. And man, I got a lot of Canadians.
Every now and then, you got to be that guy. You got to be that guy, right? Because it's better to be what do we say? A warrior in a garden.
Than a
gardener in a war, man. You have to have that in you, because every now and then you might need it.
It's better to be pissed off than pissed on, right?
Hey, we're going to leave you guys with that. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, and thanks for tuning in to the Dad Dojo.
I guess it depends on who you are, huh?
Right.